Hi, welcome all. Welcome to Dr. Akshay's show. And today we have Mr. Kaartikeya here. And he's been my client for the longest time. And hi, Kartikeya, how are you?
Hey, hi, Akshay. Thank you for having me today.
Good. Just I'm gonna put it on the screen here. Okay, so
Okay.
introduce yourself first so that our audience can get to know you.
Yeah, sure. My name's Kaartikeya. I was born and raised in India. I did most up till high school. I was in India, and then I went to Canada to do my undergraduate degree. I spent 5 years there. Been very active throughout my life. Played a lot of high school competitive sports, and then mostly soccer, football, sorry, and a lot of basketball recreationally, just with friends, but nothing competitive. And after that, I went to college, and then I was in Canada for college, and there was like a lot of stark difference in athletic abilities of people in colleges here versus in India. And so there was a lot of learning curve for me there, ramping up, building body mass, weight, and stuff. So it was a good journey there in Canada. And then I came back to India, and that is when I had an injury of mine. That's when we crossed paths after that injury.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been my story. So I've been bouncing around between India and Canada the last 10 years or so. And yeah, that's me.
Good, good. So what brought you initially to me, and how did it really happen? What injury was this? And just
Yeah. So it was I think it was just around the first wave of COVID had finished, and we had I think, unlock had happened in like localized zones, etc. So we were playing football with the kids in the colony. So in my colony, we have a little basketball hard cement court where we play football together. I grew up playing football there, so I went back to playing there. So one day I was playing, and one of the kids who I used to play with as a kid is now grown up. He's in first year college. So we were playing with him, and just strength was a bit more extreme. So the tackle was not something I was expecting, and I rolled over my ankle. That led to a tear in the ligament, complete ATFL, I think is the
ATS.
anterior tibiofibular ATL. So when that snapped, it was like my ankle swole. It was like I was in immense pain. Like it was shock throughout the entire body. I couldn't walk. I couldn't put any pressure. I was literally limping. Um, so when that happened, the immediate response was to try to go to the hospital. So we went to this local hospital next to my house. I won't say the name, but it's not the best. And over there, one of the emergency doctor basically told me to get an X-ray, and there was nothing happened. Nothing could be seen on the X-ray. I think ligaments generally you can't detect through the X-ray either. Uh, so this doctor, classified it as a sprain. He's like, "Ah, is pe patti bando, tie a little bandage or gauze, keep it tight, ice it, and rest. No pressure." I was like, "Great, okay, let's go home." Took some painkillers for 2 days, and I was surviving. 4 days, 5 days pass, swelling doesn't go, it's becoming black. Not black, maybe like dark blue. And its pain is really hurting now. Like, it emanates up towards the knee. So we were like, okay, let's find other options. Then we went to what's there's this friend of ours in the colony who basically knows a lot about sports. She guided us towards the MRI, and like she's like, get it checked, looks really bad. So it was only after her kind of like her kind of like advice that we were able to kind of figure out that, oh, it's something more serious than just a sprain, right? So that was a big learning, I guess. And we were not admitting internally, like me and my parents, ki it could be something bigger than just a sprain. And that is when we realized, okay, we got to be serious now. So then we got an MRI done, then we saw the tear, and that's when we came to try to find a physio. And we came across your profile from, I think, just word of mouth from people in our surrounding. I think we've discussed this. Many of our colleagues and friends are in common now for your clients and my friends.
Yeah.
So, or vice versa. But so we came to you, and that's when we kind of like started understanding what are the kind of like processes. And then I think the thing that stood out to us the most about you at the start was the manual therapy aspect of it, and the kind of like nurtured aspect of like, kind of setting the muscle straight or back into kind of alignment. So yeah, that was kind of the
So
the
the
genesis of it.
So the first time when I still remember when you came at first time, there was a lot of fear inside you, right? What was that
Yeah.
what was that primary concern which was bothering you a lot?
So the day I got the MRI done, we had the basically the MRI technician. He sees a lot of these.
Mhm.
So I asked him. He's like, "मैं तो नहीं बता सकता. I can't tell you right now until the doctor officially comes." But then he told me he's like, "This is an ATFL tear. This is a bad injury." And I was like, "Oh damn! Like what's this bad?" So I started googling, and a lot of things are saying that there's no like immediate repair, there's no like surgery, nothing happens. It's not like a very common. It is an injury, but it's not a very common injury either. So a lot of like mixed stories of success, of people coming back, people not coming back, people like giving up on sports, mobility ankle just tanks. A lot of like ancillary problems popping up. So fear was there that maybe under the sports that I used to play, the soccer, the basketball, TT, just the general like kind of zest and mobility of everyday life. I thought that would be like disappearing and I'll have to kind of like be having walking with a limp or like, maybe with a cane, kind of like thinking like, oh, I'm going to be like an old Batman, just, hobbling away with a cane. Uh, but no, that was kind of like the fear which I had at the start, which only time kind of alleviated that. And working with you, seeing the changes, making the changes in myself, those things kind of helped, and they still help me today.
I must compliment you because all of this process is only possible when someone like you executes upon it. And
Yeah,
let me tell
thank
you,
you, thank
and
you.
I'll not shy away to say this, very few people actually follow because
Yeah.
they would lack some sort of dedication. Or even when I tell my clients personally that if you put in by the books, if you go 10 to 12 weeks of a good rehab, and then
Hmm.
by 15 weeks you can be back to sports if you are at it. And
Yeah.
a lot of people would not believe it at first. And that is why I
Hmm.
also wanted to do this with you because um, there is there is this thing that I've achieved it for a lot of times with a lot of people. And when
Hmm.
I tell people that, it is possible that with a complete ligament tear, you can go back to sports, they they,
Yeah.
they still are very skeptical and they are not too sure. And
Hmm.
you are actually a live example where you have executed everything to the T and
Yeah.
you're living your life with the sports and everything that you want to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great kind of summary of the story. I always I credit a lot to the kind of chats we had during the therapy sessions, right? I think a lot of it was also just kind of um, me talking to you about the silliest of fears. Like, one day I remember very distinctly, I came to you and I told you that do I need to wear Vans or do I need to wear Nikes or do I need to wear another type of shoe to be able to start, maybe getting the landing of my foot correctly just to kind of support how the mind muscle connection that we discussed and trained, how to consistently have those set muscle groups activated when you're walking, when you're running, when you're doing things, your core, everything. And like, I feel like that kind of like ability to touch on that muscle memory connection, it trains you to kind of hack your body in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it just came from me asking you silly questions, then you explaining me, ki, boss, you just chill. You don't need to get a massage gun right now. Just do the foam rolling. You're fine. So I still remember those chats. But no, I think it was definitely, of course, my discipline, but your kind of, consistent. I think the way we scheduled classes also, we had some hectic times in the start where we were meeting very often, and then we started weaning it off to give me time to kind of set things into my rhythm. And I think that really worked well for me to kind of execute and on my timeline because we were working. It was COVID, and people were still hesitant on like, oh, touch points, or infection. So I think we were very mindful of that throughout the process. So thank you very much for your support, and of course, thank you for really helping me get this mindset that Um, just don't think about it. You're good. Think about the other muscles. Think about everything else. You can continue walking. And I feel like that psychosomatic fear that we end up developing about our ankle, we can kind of circumvent that entirely.
And how did you manage all of that with the mindset and everything? Was there something special that
Um,
where was that aha moment for you when you realized, oh, I can actually go back to sports and do things and enjoy my life again?
it was actually so we had, I think, completed just about 8 to 9 months together of like, you had stopped doing manual therapy and we'd moved to the side of now kind of doing like mobility work, right?
Mhm.
It was like early on. And we used to do a lot of like these kind of plyometric balancing exercises on that. I forget that thing. I forget what
Bosu
it's
ball,
called,
yeah.
but it was, yeah, the Bosu ball. And when we used to do that, I used to get like, oh man, it's tough, but maybe it's doable, you know? So I kept challenging myself, practicing at home, finding like a little step I can find while I'm climbing a staircase and practicing that conscious muscle switching when you're trying to make those jumps up. And just every day, just like every moment you get, because walking is every moment. So that's kind of the philosophy I embodied. And then it was the first day I went to play tennis. And I think I told you this because I had come to you the morning of and I was like, hey, I have a tennis game with three friends. We're playing doubles. I need help. Like, you gotta like set me up for like no failures there. Should I wear my brace? Should I not?
Mhm.
And I think that session all we did was just a lot of like mobility work, stretching, and like just the same things again and again. It's like just stuck to the routine, the kind of static warm up, good stuff, and I kind of kept that routine till today. So yeah, I think that was the aha moment was that tennis match with my friends.
And how it's been quite a few years now that you're back to sports and you've been playing with no problems as such.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So although my sports playing has become very limited, I play a lot. I play football now, like soccer, not competitively, like like full contact leagues, but co-ed leagues, Sunday recreational football leagues. I'm still getting cardio and I'm getting good shots in. Maybe not that 100% power,
Mhm.
just because like I'm also mindful of like that it is an injured thing. You don't need to abuse it. You got to still be mindful.
Yeah.
um, I think that's very important too. So been doing that. Basketball I play, but I tend to steer clear from basketball whenever I get a chance. And like I'd rather choose a running based sport rather than a jumping based sport. So even tennis for that matter, I really enjoy. Swimming, I mean, that doesn't matter for the ankle, I guess. TT, I love playing TT, so like the quick, rapid movements. I feel like a lot of the times, I still need to wear like a proper shoe though. So that is one thing I realized, I think more recently than before, that wearing the wrong kind of shoes, like these thin sole ones, like these flipper kind of things,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit more like a particular cushion size I've noticed, like the Nike Air Pegasus and all. I think those are like that kind of traction is something you need. That's important. And I feel like once you have that, then a lot of the work that we do in terms of the setting up of the mind muscle connection for the ankle, that's really good.
You feel because of the all this rehab that we have done and the time we have spent building you up to
Hmm.
become stronger and all, uh,
Hmm.
it was in a way blessing in disguise.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Like my mother and my father, I think you've had a chance to meet both of them across these many years, and they've also maybe been clients of yours. But we all see the value that you've been able to kind of guide us on and be mindful of. And that's a very important part of, I think, any rehab process is the consistent kind of, reminder to each other, to yourself that this is how things are and this is how things should be in terms of those kind of situations where you need to be extra careful, extra cautious about your recovery. So yeah.
Good. Any message for the people who are actually having a complete ankle ligament tear? And anything you want to say, just like a one-liner or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, just don't give up. I feel like faith or kind of like hope is something you have to hold on to dearly and have the faith that it will work and you will have kind of like the change will occur. So kind of I believe in that kind of positive manifestation of thought. So that at the start should be kind of like the premise with which all actions are preface, sorry, for all other preceding actions. And yeah, just be mindful. I think that's a big takeaway from what we spoke about right now. So yeah, the only two things.
The only thing I would like to add on for the viewers is that secret sauce is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do, and I tell that the path is laid in front of you. We know the science. It's just
Mm-hmm.
taking one step after the other and
Mm-hmm.
consistently doing that and then maintaining it throughout your life. Bring it as a lifestyle change, and then it works wonders for you more than you can ever imagine. So that's what there is, and that's what we did with Kartike. So I think I'm very proud that you've been practicing and doing everything like that, and nothing gives me more happiness to see my clients grow like this and getting their life back together and playing sports and enjoying. Thank you for
No,
your
thank you very much.
thank you
Thank you.
for your
Thank
time.
you very much, Akshay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So that was Kartikeya, yes. So this was, I think it was a great interaction, and I think he expressed his heart out. And this is for all the people who are very skeptical, who have lost hope. They are not too sure whether they can go back to sports or not. And I think this guy is the testament of that. So he's worked very hard and he's done everything to the point which I've told him. And he's back to sports, doing everything he wants. So you have to have that belief in yourself that yes, if you follow the right path, do the right things, then it is possible that you can overcome any obstacle. Considering that it is a functional change, which we can actually bring a difference from, which means that if we do a proper rehab and everything in anything which has to happen for the betterment of any problem that you are having musculoskeletally, and give it your best in your rehab. And you never know, it can bring you and make you become a lot more stronger, even what you were before the injury. So it can work as a blessing in disguise. So yeah, put your hard work in, put your smart work in, and give your best shot so that you can go back to living your dreams again and achieving them in reality. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Akshay signing off. Peace out.